All right. Hey, how about this? I don't mean to be insensitive. How about this? Don't bring your gun to the protest. How does that sound? Now, this one's much less clear cut. I mean, I watched two angles of the video. Are we gonna do this every week? Is this just gonna be the show now? It was pedophiles before. Maybe this is better. Maybe we're just gonna do ice shootings. We're gonna Monday morning quarterback ice shootings every week. That is what they want, I guess. That's the goal, right? They're stirring up. They're hyping these people up that like this is actual Nazism, like some Hmong guy who like raped a 13-year-old kid, uh, preventing ICE from deporting him is the same as like your grandfather storming the beach at Normandy. They're like hyping them up with that rhetoric, because they've got like, Tim Walz is like, if he doesn't get some good optics, he's like going to prison, right? With what's going on. So they're hyping everybody up. Then these retards are getting out there and they're like, my life is a Hollywood movie in which I am the star and the hero. And when I'm in a dramatic moment, the music swells and that's what they see for themselves. So you had Renee Good. She was like, she thought she could do whatever she wanted, and she accelerated away from the police officers to try to get away, and unfortunately she was accelerating towards an ICE officer and he blew her away. And now you've got this guy. This one's much less clear cut to me, because the Renee Good one, clearly she was, as soon as she accelerated towards the officer, he had a right to kill her. It's a shame it happened. I personally think that she was trying to turn the wheel. And that's what it seemed like. But by then, the guy was already in the act of firing. It was all over. This one, I've watched the video a few times from the two different angles I've seen. I don't really see him go for the gun that he has. But just the fact that he has a gun on him, uh, not good. Does that mean he should be shot? No. This actually does seem like maybe it is a poor training thing. Uh, there's a very large group of them. Seems like they should have been able to get him down before it came to this. Uh, and if he was going for the gun, yeah, absolutely blow him away. Was he going for the gun? I don't know. I don't personally. I haven't seen that he was going for the gun. I also haven't watched the videos 1,000 times. And I support ICE. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, there should be an investigation to see if he was really going for the gun. Maybe some people need to lose their jobs. Maybe there needs to be some new training stuff, but ICE is basically in the right for what they're doing. Um, this is one where it's not like the Renee Good thing. It's much worse. Unless I'm retarded and he actually was going for the gun. In which case, yeah, he should be killed. Well, actually, I mean, just by virtue of what they're doing, protesting out there, they should all be. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke. My favorite podcast got taken off YouTube. Lemon Party. They got their channel deleted, and one of the guys, Ben Avery, was the former producer for Tim Dillon. He also got his individual. So he's like the creative force behind Lemon Party, and he also has his individual YouTube channel where he streams. They both got taken down, and I think it's for like that kind of thing, like telling people to kill themselves and saying what should happen to certain groups. But these protesters, I hope nothing bad happens to them. No, I mean, just going out there, you're a fucking retard and an absolute menace to everyone else. But if you're not going for your gun, I don't know. I mean, you are like resisting arrest and getting the shit beaten out of you, but does that authorize lethal force? I don't know. I don't know what I'd tell my son to do if he was part of ICE. I'd kind of be just like, yeah, as soon as you see a gun in their waistband, just blow them away. Someone I cared about. And if I had a son who was going to the protest, I would I would say, "You're not my son, you faggot." But no, you know what I'm saying here. You know what I'm saying, right, folks? You get it. No, this one much less clear cut. You know what would have sorted it out though? Is our first story here. This is what we call a segue. What ICE really needs access to is this. So let's look at the New York Post right now. Trump reveals to the Post secret, quote, discombobulator weapon was crucial to Venezuelan raid on Maduro. President Trump told the Post that a secret new weapon he calls the discombobulator was essential to the daring U.S. raid that captured Venezuela's drug-dealing dictator Nicolas Maduro. Trump boasted that the mysterious weapon, quote, made enemy equipment not work when U.S. helicopters swooped into Caracas on January 3rd to arrest Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, on federal drug and weapons charges without losing a single American life. The discombobulator. I'm not allowed to talk about it, Trump said during an exclusive interview in the Oval Office. I would love to, the president added before confirming its use in the stealth operation. They never got their rockets off. They had Russian and Chinese rockets, and they never got one off. We came in, they pressed buttons, and nothing worked. They were all set for us. Now, okay, here's the thing. I only read the headline for that one, and that actually was not a great segue. I thought the discombobulator was the thing that made those elite Cuban bodyguards who are protecting Maduro puke their guts up and die. Because apparently that's what happened. Apparently we had some kind of sound weapon that I don't know where I heard that. Maybe it's all made up, but it's some kind of sound weapon, and it just makes these guys everybody just keels over and starts throwing up, and their esophagus rips to shreds, and I think they die, some of them. I would imagine you die from it. And that's what we used. So I was trying to segue there. I was going to say, that's what... No, it was a joke, though. I was going to say that's what ICE should have to use against the protesters, but that's a joke. That's not serious. I don't think... just because you look at all the Somalians and the rapists and the murderers, the people who have felony convictions and are still in the country, and you say, I want them to stay in the country, I don't think you should be discombobulated. I don't think you should have a sound weapon used that makes you start throwing up so hard that it rips your esophagus out and you bleed to death out of your mouth. I would never think something like that. That's really rude. Actually, I'm in a weird time right now because I have to gauge myself. My dad's coming to visit again. So about once a year, these last few years, my dad's been coming to visit me. My dad's from New Jersey. I live on the other side of the world. So he's coming, and my dad, even though he's come to support Trump, he's still very much a normie. And how could he not be? And by the way, I wouldn't want him not to be, right? I don't want my 70-year-old dad who supported, George W. Bush, to come here and start quoting Moldbug at me, right? I'm happy with him the way he is. That's good. But so we'll be talking politics, and we're not exactly, well, we're both Trump supporters, so we're not exactly aligned, but we're congruent enough where we can get together. And I've got to watch it because I'm on Twitter all the time, and these people talk to me, or they don't talk, but I see what they're saying. And sometimes people favorite me, and I do a deep dive on their. Someone just favorited me on X. And so this is a perfect example. And it's they favorited a retweet of mine. So I'm like, oh, okay, who is this? Oh, it's someone following me. Oh, they have a podcast. So then I Google their name, and so I've actually listened to their podcast before. It's like a Red Scare inspired alt lit podcast. So like all this self published, Substack and like small press indie lit, and it's it leans right. And I'm listening to them, and it's two women, and I recognize, one of them's the one who favorited my tweet, right? And so they're like, oh, we were going to interview this guy, but he canceled because in our last episode we said Renee Good was a stupid Floyd who got domed. And I was like, well, that's pretty funny. They seem pretty like nice based ladies. That's cool. And then so I Google the lady's name, and she's got all these posts about being trans and Jewish. And I don't know if it's they're going back to like 2018, and like trans and Jewish and what the dating scene is like, and uh the Pride Parade has no space for me because I'm a queer Jewish woman, Jewish trans woman, and the I guess it's like an anti-Palestine thing. I don't know. I didn't click on it, but I'm like, okay, well, that's what I'm appealing to right now. Those are my peers. And so then this is a conflict when my dad comes, and my dad is he's he never had cable his whole life, my dad. I grew up with no cable. I grew up with like antenna TV. And my dad got like Fox News, and like, but he got it at like 68 years old. He got Fox News for the first time. It's like getting like crack or something. So he's coming in with like, he's gonna tell me the wildest raunchiest joke that they told on like Greg Gutfeld. But he, it's cute. Like I've got to like kind of be like, yeah, wow, that Gutfeld's such an edge lord. That's really funny. And and then I'll make some point about politics or whatever, and he'll be like, "Wow, that's a really interesting take. I've never heard anything like that. Like, where did you hear something like that?" And I have to think back, and I'm like, "Yeah, I think I first read that from a right wing account called like Gay Sex Nationalist or something." So I've got to like make up some new way that I heard it. It does seem like every conservative adjacent voice or conservative voice that I gel with, that, and by that I mean that they're like committed to very right-wing ideas, to ideas that are like more right than what's more ideas that are to the right of Trump, let's say. Like people committed to those ideas who also like have a certain taste and like to read like a certain kind of thing. Every single one of them that I've met or like seen on Twitter has been some kind of weird, uh, at the very least, like sexual degenerate, and usually like openly gay. But that's fine. You know who's actually really cool is Jack the Perfume Nationalist. He's like Trump's strongest soldier. He's like the most. He's, I think, the most diehard MAGA account like I've ever seen, and his podcast, the Perfume Nationalist. He's a he just clearly loves Trump and has like a deep faith in him, and like he was like really disgusted with people who didn't like the whole Israel Palestine thing that was going on a few months ago, and like all the MAGA people like me, people who like supported Trump but really didn't like that. He was just really dismissive of them, and it was annoying, but I came to like kind of respect it because he's the gayest man in the world. His podcast is called The Perfume Nationalist, where he really talks about interesting books and things and does these kind of deep dives, but he's got like the ultimate gay guy lisp. like a really like an NPR gay guy lisp. And he does that. He speaks in that way. And before you can get to like the meat of his podcast, he'll do like a 2-hour podcast on some book from like 1950 that was popular but hardly anyone reads now, that's like not a classic. Before he gets to that, he'll do 30 minutes about a perfume. Like he'll actually talk about I don't know if you've ever put on headphones and listened to a podcast where someone talks about perfume for 30 minutes. But if you are like a heterosexual, it's if you're a heterosexual man, it's tough to get through that. It's very challenging. And it's just very funny that that guy is so pro Trump. Like just he's pro Trump to the point where he just like criticisms of Trump, he just dismisses. He just like you're just garbage to him. You're just like a piece of shit if you don't love Trump. And those are the kinds of people that like when my dad comes and he's like, yeah, that that Greg Gutfeld, he called he'd like lower his voice. He'd be like, he called them he called the people who didn't support Israel pussies. And he'll be like giving me like a mischievous like smile. you know I'll be like, yeah, and gay sex nationalist said that he wants to take the Palestinian boys as catamites. I'll be like going up for a high five. My dad will be like looking up what the word catamite means, and he's like, oh, it's a young boy sex slave. I don't see why that's funny. Why would you say that? So right now I've really got to I've got to get it all out on the podcast. I've got to like take everything down a notch, just kind of, hey, be focused. Like I can't like my dad wouldn't like if I called Renee Good a bitch even. And not even for like libtard reasons. He's not a libtard. He'd just be like, "Oh, your son, not everything is Gutfeld. I mean, you know, we've got to watch how we talk." He'd probably say something like he would probably really say something like that. That's the thing. So I've got to get it all straight, okay? I got to not get discombobulated myself here with these death rays. All right, let's change stories here. What's good? What's a good story? Apple's making AirTag sized AI pins. That's the worst thing I've ever heard. All right, let's look at that. Let's look at these Apple AI pins they're supposedly making. It's a small wearable AI pin equipped with multiple cameras, speaker, and microphones, reports the information. If it actually launches, the AI pin will likely run the new Siri chatbot that Apple plans to unveil in iOS 27. The pin is said to be similar in size to an AirTag with a thin, flat, circular disc shape. It has an aluminum and glass shell. I'm reading from macrumors.com. And 2 cameras at the front. They're standard. Okay, blah, 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 blah. It's not clear if Apple plans to sell the pin on its own or in a bundle. Okay, I don't understand the point of this. There's been AI wearable shit before, and it all sucks. I just don't understand why I want it pinned to my clothes or what the point is. Right? Because the real act of genius that's I think a little bit overlooked. The last like really big development in mobile technology, in my opinion, is the really good earbuds. Because Bluetooth earbuds, yeah, they've existed for a long time, but they really, really, really sucked. In fact, every Bluetooth device I've ever owned, besides name brand earbuds, has sucked. It's always had inconsistent pairing with every device across operating systems, across the years, across everything. I've never had a good experience with Bluetooth. And so when Apple had their what are they called? Uh ear 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 pods, whatever. the Apple earbuds, and people really like them. I was like, okay. And then a few years ago, I bought something else. I bought, oh, you know what it was? I signed up for a new internet connection. I moved my apartment, so I had to call the internet company, get them to install the internet, signed up for that for a monthly plan. I had to sign on for like a year or two or something. And as a random like gift, they were like, here, you can get like, $200 off a new TV, or, $300 off a laptop or something. And it was all these things you could get as like a bonus for signing up. And the only one that was free was a pair of these Samsung earbuds. And I didn't want Samsung earbuds at all, but I got them because they were free, and I have a Samsung phone, and they flawlessly paired with everything, and they're perfect, and I love them. And that was a huge advance in mobile technology. Like the biggest leap, I think, in terms of what people actually use constantly. The biggest leap since the iPhone itself and the smartphones was those really, really, really good earbuds that are extremely reliable, and there's no wires, and you can talk with them, and you can you can play and pause your music or your podcast. Just amazing. Now these AI pins are quite disappointing. These AI pins have just no point. Why do I need the AI to see what I'm seeing? I guess. And do I need the AI to be seeing what I'm seeing so often that I need it pinned to my shirt? Because right now, if I need AI to see something, I take out my phone, I take a photo of it, and then I upload the photo to whatever AI I'm using, right? So what could I possibly be doing where I need it to see? Is it going to like take photos like every 5 minutes throughout my day? And then if I want to interact with it, what do I do? I'm going to be doing voice commands, but the voice commands are going to go to my phone, not to that device. So what's the point? What's the point? I don't get it. I don't know what they're going for. Hopefully it's just some stupid patent that they have or whatever, and it's not going to get developed. I hope it's not developed. Don't develop it, Apple. I don't use Apple, but everything trickles down from Apple. It'll get copied if it gets any success. All right, did I have any other AI stories? Here's a much better AI story. We'll like this one. New York Post. Controversial suicide pod inventor reveals new AI-powered feature to allow couples to die simultaneously. Now, this is the kind of innovation that Apple needs to get into. If Apple can't do this, they're in big trouble, I think. Right? Because they're thinking, oh, you'll pin something to your clothes. Like, they're kind of looking backwards. They're kind of like the future of technology, like the iPhone let so many people do so many things, and instead of people having to take out their phone and use the camera to have the phone know what they're doing, now the phone will just know what they're doing because it's pinned to their shirt, right? And that'll be an extension of their own mind and abilities in the way that an iPhone is at its best. That's what they're thinking. But that's an old style of thinking. That's Kamala Harris is going to win the election style of thinking. And that's not going to fly anymore. What we need is something dark and realistic from Apple. We need suicide pods, not iPods, not earpods, suicide pods. Okay? That's the future. That's what people want and are going to continue to want. A year after a controversial assisted dying device was used for the first time, its inventor says he is preparing a new version designed for two. The sarco pod. That is dark. Sarco, like sarcophagus? That is fucked up. That's so ridiculous. A 3D printed capsule that allows a user to trigger a nitrogen release entered the global spotlight in 2024 after a 64-year-old American woman used it in Switzerland. The episode quickly spiraled into a police investigation, with authorities seizing the device and detaining those present before later ruling out intentional homicide. Now, Philip Nitschke, the Australian born physician behind Sarco, says development is underway on a larger AI enabled model built specifically for couples who want to die together. Quote, I'm not suggesting everyone's going to race forward and say, boy, I really want to climb into one of those things, Nitschke told Daily Mail, but some people do. Nitschke said interest has already come from couples, including one from Britain, who told him they wanted to, quote, die in each other's arms. See, okay, the problem with these kind of things, when you design these clearly evil things, is because I can argue till I'm blue in the face that assisted suicide is not okay. And people will hate me for it, and they'll be like, you have no empathy for people who are in horrible pain with cancer and blah blah blah. And if you had that kind of pain, you would want to do it this way. That's all true, but it's still wrong. And I can argue about that for hours, and I already have on this podcast. But there is a problem where you have these like European and white American inventors, and they build this shit, and they just think I'm putting this out into the world because they actually have no real empathy. Like they can't think that like other ways of living that aren't like, you know, the liberal democratic capitalist way, the strict materialist way. They can't think that those are like real, or if they are real, they're just like temporary problems humanity is having, and eventually everyone is going to think like them, and it's just inevitable. That's like the whole being on the right side of history type of thing. This guy, this Nitschke guy, he thinks that it's going to be a British couple having this beautiful moment where like they die in each other's arms, right? And like, okay, there's a lot of problems with that too. I'm not ceding that point, but like I can see how you could think it was beautiful in a way. But how this is going to end up being used is like some Saudi prince is going to be dying, and he's going to have one of these with like 40 chambers in it, and all of his harem girls are all going to be forced in it to go to paradise with him. I mean, that's the bad news here. Like, I hate to break it to you, buddy, but you're making a machine that kills people. Like, how much do you bet that this guy, if he was American, he'd be like an anti-gun guy? It's like, buddy, you're inventing a gun. Oh, I've invented this device, and it's for good guys to kill bad guys from a distance. So it's only going to go to police, and it's only going to go to our military right now for our government that I voted for that I agree with. This device is called a gun. It's like, yeah, that's not how it works, but you're making a death machine. No, it's going to be used for British couples who have been in love for 50 years, and now one of them's dying of cancer, and they just want to die in each other's arms. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be used for the emperor's harem to be sent to him. It's going to be used in some 10,000 years from now in a religious ritual you can't imagine, worshiping some devil god. They're going to put virgins in there and have the demon AI turn on the gas. That's what you're bringing into the world, you fucking retard. What are you thinking? This death machine I made is actually really beautiful. Shut up. How could it be? What? It's so offensive to me when they try to sell you this kind of thing. That the British couple wants to die in each other's arms. Yeah, what? Do you have a problem with that, Wizard Cat? You don't think people should have autonomy? I want to. I can't say what I want to do. I want to discombobulate Nichke. See, now, you might be saying, Wizard Cat, you're kind of saying the invention to peacefully kill someone who wants to die with nitrogen gas is worse than the discombobulator that makes people like shit out their small intestine and die in agony. But can't you see, like, the one is cool and the other one sucks? Can't you see the one kicks ass and the other one is gay? The things I like are cool, and things like this are gay. It's not inconsistent. Don't tell me I'm being inconsistent. I'm being consistent. Calling it the Sarco. The new design, sometimes referred to as the double Dutch Sarco. Come on, it's the double Dutch Sarco or it's the discombobulator. And I know Trump was calling the discombobulator the thing that makes the missiles not work. I'm still going to call the discombobulator the thing that makes you piss and shit your intestines out. The discombobulator is the thing that makes you, like, it liquefies your kidneys and then makes you piss them out of your urethra and you die the most painful death imaginable and you wish that the drone had just shot you. That's the discombobulator. It discombobulates your insides. It's a better name for it. That's way better than the double Dutch sarcophagus. Only a libtard could come up with a double Dutch sarcophagus. And only a retard like me, not reading the full story, could misattribute the beautiful name discombobulator to the other weapon. That's the difference. That's the difference between good and evil. Elite Cuban commandos shitting their insides out and screaming. That's awesome because they were communists. The double Dutch Sarco and a British couple having this tender moment where they die together. Gay. Fucking gay. Okay. The double Dutch Sarco, it's large enough for two people, requires a synchronized decision. Both occupants must press their buttons at the same time or the device will not activate. The original Sarco capsule works by flooding its chamber with nitrogen, rendering the occupant unconscious within seconds, causing death shortly afterward. All right, I think it probably hurts. I think it probably still hurts. Nitschke said the woman who used the pod last year pressed the button almost immediately, explaining that she, quote, really wanted to die in the device and had read about it beforehand. Beyond its size, the next iteration introduces a feature Nitschke says was unfinished during the first use. Artificial intelligence, designed to assess mental capacity. One of the parts of the device which hadn't been finished, but is now finished, is the artificial intelligence, he said. Instead of a traditional psychiatric evaluation, future users would complete an online test administered by an AI avatar. And people say AI has no real-world use. Well, okay, here's a use for it. What if someone is contemplating suicide, and instead of having them talk to a mental health professional, you just have them fill out an AI online form with a chatbot? Isn't that... I thought the automation and robotics, they were going to do, like, dangerous jobs. But I guess this is because, like, the person's so unlovable that they're killing themselves. You know, you're a therapist and you're like, I don't want to talk to the lady who wants to go in the nitrogen pod. She probably sucks ass. Just have her talk to ChatGPT. Hey, are you mentally competent to kill yourself? Yes? Okay. All right, button activated. You can press it whenever you're ready. God, it's gay. With the new Double Dutch, we'll have that software incorporated. Great. Yeah, I wonder what hell looks like for these people. I truly do, because I don't think I'm a great person. You know, who knows what what awaits for me, what sins are forgiven and which ones remain. But but I didn't like sell body parts. I didn't invent something and call it the sarcophagus and and have an AI demon make the final decision if people are competent. I mean, what was he thinking? All right, we got to move on from that. We got to move on. I have another New York Post story, but I guess I have to move. Let's do let's do Fable. Do you know the video game Fable? You guys heard of the video game Fable? If you don't know what Fable is, it was this Xbox game. Original Xbox, I think, is when it debuted. It's like this fantasy game, and it's had a bit of a rough history. But they're making like a new Fable now. It's going to come out soon, and God, it looks bad. It looks so bad. This part, so this is from IGN on X. Fable will have The Office style cutaways in the full game. So, mind you, this is not a game in a modern setting. It's a game with it's like a fantasy game with like swords and like magic and stuff. All right, listen to this. If you're the video's up, but if you're just listening, I'll try to explain.
Fable is trying out something never before seen in a AAA game, mockumentary-style interviews.
I'm here to conquer the vegetable, not a euphemism.
It was used.
So they've got this like British mystery meat, air quotes, comedian. I'm sure he's famous. I don't know his name, but he's doing like, he's being motion captured. They're using his voice, and they're cutting away to him, like being interviewed as if for a documentary in like modern clothes with like glasses. So they're going to take you out of the medieval fantasy setting and have you look at at this guy, and he's going to make like jokes that they've written, and they think this is a good video game.
To conquer the vegetable, not a euphemism.
It was used in one of the first Fable trailers, and fans thought the scenes were made just for the trailer, but it turns out these office-style cutaways are in the full game. In case you didn't know, Fable is very British, and the new game is very much inspired by comedies from the UK, even bringing in actors like Richard Ayoade from the IT Crowd, and Matt King from Peep Show, with more British actors yet to be revealed. But they're also mimicking the style of interview scenes popularized by The Office. Playground Games chief Ralph Fulton said, quote, "It allows you a way to really neatly tell a joke or drop a little bit of character detail in a way that would feel really clunky in a dialogue, but suddenly feels entirely natural when you do it to camera." So yeah,
I hate these people. Games are not cutscenes. You can't just write for a TV show and have it work in a game. A game's supposed to be immersive. It sucks so much. These people, it's bad TV and it's bad gaming. It's just the worst of all possible worlds. You have like all these TV writers writing for games. It just sucks so fucking much. I used to work in the game industry. I'm not going to talk about it or say where I worked, but just I would see like I would look up writer credits sometimes, and it would be, I shouldn't talk about this, but just if it's someone with TV credits, it's like, come the fuck on. Like the only cool thing about games is them being like an outsider thing. Like, and when you just professionalize everything, you sap all the creativity out of it. And it's just really terrible. Now, yeah, you could make some like really immaculate game if you did it right, but no one ever does it right. It always sucks. It always fucking sucks. I'm sure they have. So now they've got TV actors, and they're not making fictional characters. They're making like they're fully motion capturing and like using the likeness of the actual actor. And that actor who's been on TV before is now reading lines written by the same person who wrote their TV lines. And you're gonna slap the buttons on your controller for a few minutes, get from point A to point B, and then you're gonna see the next little office style gag written by a TV writer. You watch the TV show once and then it's over. Like the games, you're supposed to get immersed. You're playing again and again and again. It's like it sucks. It sucks. These people suck. They're anti-creative. They're not just not creative. They're like anti-creative. They create a fraudulent thing. They create a thing that's like fraudulently creative. It has the trappings of something creative. And people watch that and they're like, oh, I guess I just don't like creative works. I'm not even going to say art. We're talking about video games, but like, oh, I just don't like creative works, I guess. You know, creative works are just kind of lame. It's like, go play Smash TV from the arcades. It's amazing. It's just exuberantly creative. You've got like a guy like shooting. A guy comes out with it, and he's got these weird eyeballs, and he starts shooting his eyeballs out. No TV writer could write that because it's retarded. You know, it needs to go back to like young retards who are not writers, who just want to do cool imagery. That's my rant on games. Okay, let's go to something else. Let's see. We've got the Board of Peace. It's kind of fun. Let's talk about the Board of Peace. I guess we should talk about Davos a little bit. The World Economic Forum. Oh, that reminds me. Speaking of the World Economic Forum, Burnpile is brought to you by the ADL, Fighting Hate for Good. The World Economic Forum. And by the Open Society Foundations. Burnpile is also brought to you by listeners like you. Sign up at burnpile.vip, where for $5 a month, you'll get access to bonus episodes every damn week. That's burnpile.vip. Burnpile.vip. All right. Very cool. Glad we got that out there. Well, we're talking about the World Economic Forum. Carney got up there, the Canadian guy, and he was like, there is a rules-based international order. We're not going to let it go. That's why I'm selling Canada to China. And then there's endless gushing about what a genius he is. Now, that was okay. I did enjoy that. But the really cool part, once again, Macron and Trump stole the show. Macron wore these just gorgeous sunglasses. Have you seen these? Let me bring these up. I actually have to have it up. Macron sunglasses. This was legitimately cool to do this. It's such a weird, just retarded, eccentric thing to do. I really did like it. Let me bring him up. He just puts a pair of sunglasses on and he just does his speech with sunglasses on indoors. That was awesome. That was really funny. It's kind of badass. I liked it. Now, I don't know what his speech was. I did listen to it, but I don't remember a word. I was just looking at the sunglasses. I have one French acquaintance And I sent him a text and I said, "What happened? Why did he wear the sunglasses?" And he said, "I don't know. I guess I didn't watch it, but I guess his eyes were fucked up or something." But you know who did watch it was Donald Trump, and Trump gets up there and he goes, "Macron, Macron with those beautiful sunglasses. What the hell happened?" And then he tells a humiliating story about besting Macron in some trade dispute, which was very fun. It's a very funny bit between the two of them to have worked that out. I think Macron said, "Donald, listen, if you find yourself in trouble in your speech, you know how you ramble a little bit. I'm gonna give you an easy out. The day before, I'm gonna go up and do my speech with sunglasses on. So if you're ever like stumbling, if you don't know how you're gonna get to the next thread, just bring up me with the sunglasses. It'll just be an easy, cool thing to do." And Trump said, "Yeah, okay, I'll do that." Trump's speech was fine. For the most part, I'm getting everything I want. You know, I'd give Trump like an 11 out of 10 if it weren't for the Israel horse shit. God, that pissed me off. I mean, I don't like the Venezuela thing that much, but I'll tolerate it, especially because it was so cool. But you know, the Israelis like shooting the Christian churches with like American bullets and stuff. That just pissed me off to no end. I really am having a hard time getting over that. Cuck, Wizard Cat's a cuck. He won't get on. It's just the Israel thing. Perfect marks for everything else. I like what he's doing with everything else. Leave me alone. Okay. But let's look now at the Board of Peace. This is from The Atlantic. Trump's billion-dollar Board of Peace. The new entity has a global remit and a steep price for a permanent seat. Imagine you're the president of a mid-sized country and you're offered a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. The only condition, you have to pay the Secretary General of the United Nations $1 billion. This is something like what Donald Trump is now offering world leaders. The US president has sent letters of invitation to various heads of government to join a new Board of Peace, which he will chair. The organization was envisioned as part of the United Nations-backed effort for the reconstruction and transitional governance of Gaza, but the new board's charter, details of which have not been previously reported, appears to give the board a global remit, according to a copy we reviewed, and the price of a permanent position on the board is very steep. The charter's membership section, written in legalese that sounds not unlike an application to join the committee of an upscale golf club, says members will be invited by the chairman to participate for a 3-year term, subject to renewal by Trump. But there is a way to skip the renewals and lock in for the long term. Quote, the 3-year membership term shall not apply to member states that contribute more than $1 billion in cash funds to the Board of Peace within the first year of the charter's entry into force. What the money will be used for isn't stated. Its expected purpose is to fund reconstruction and other revitalization efforts in Gaza and perhaps beyond, and whatever conflicts Trump and the board choose to address. But the charter doesn't address that. Its finance section simply states funding for the expenses of the Board of Peace shall be through okay, blah, 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 blah. You get it. So Trump's basically got a new thing where he's like, the UN's gay because I don't have enough power there. We're going to do a new thing. It's the Board of Peace. And this is the new club where we're actually going to decide shit. And it's just for Gaza. Just kidding. It's for the whole world. Now, if you want to join, you got to give me a Billy. So I like that. That's not bad. That's pretty cool. We do need new institutions. Now, this is maybe a retarded one, but, you know, something can start retarded and get good. So we'll see. Who is on the Board of Peace right now? I saw a list before of the countries that joined. Let's see. What countries joined the Board of Peace? Let's see. Joined the Board of Peace. We got a list here. Let's see if my AI gave me a list. Albania, Argentina, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Belarus, Bulgaria, Egypt, Hungary, Israel, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, the UAE, and Vietnam. Wow, those are all the worst countries. If we're going to keep the golf club analogy, would you want to go to a golf club where these are the member states? Trump's got to do something. Somebody's got to get grandfathered. I mean, Macron's got to get grandfathered in here. Something's got to give. These are all the worst countries in the world. If you told me this was a list of the worst countries in the world, I would believe it. I mean, actually, that's not. I've heard nice things about Vietnam. I have a lot of friends who've gone to Vietnam and really loved it. So, with the exception of Vietnam, these are all the worst countries. Like Bulgaria, wasn't that movie with that lady who who's like an evil CEO who turns out to be an alien? I mean, these countries. This isn't good. You want to go to the golf club with me? Yeah, it's pretty exclusive. You know who's there? Albania. This isn't a good board of peace. I don't really like this. Let's see if we got an updated list here. Okay, we've got some more. Norway declined. France declined. Uzbekistan, Mongolia's there. All right. Now, that's the best one on the list. I do really like Mongolia. Mongolia is a country I really want to visit. I would say in the next 10 years, my chances of going to Mongolia are probably like 50-50. Like, it's on the list of countries I really want to see. Mongolia, I would take. Also, Hungary's not that bad. I've heard Hungary's fine. Let's see, who's Slovenia declined. Now that's depressing because isn't Melania from Slovenia? That's a little fucked up actually that they declined. I don't like that. Sweden declined, UK declined, Spain declined. Good riddance. Who would want Spain? Now Canada, I do know Canada's invitation was withdrawn because Trump didn't like Carney's speech where he said, well, Canada and all the middle powers are going to come together and we're going to make our deal with China. Take that, Mr. Trump. And everybody was like, wow, this is a star is born. A new leader is here. And Trump withdrew. And Trump said, you know what, pal? You're off the board of peace. Fuck you. Cambodia is non-committal. What the hell, Cambodia? China. Now, why did China get an invitation? That doesn't make sense. The EU got an invitation. Disgusting. Greece is non-committal. Italy's non-committal. Yeah, he's got to. First thing he's got to do is kick off half these countries. Board of Peace. Israel's got to be kicked off. Pakistan's got to be kicked off. All of the Muslim countries have to be kicked off. I don't know how you're going to have a board of peace and have. Does he know what religion these people follow? How's he going to have a board of peace? A board of peace with Muslims? I don't get it. Doesn't make sense. He didn't think it through. It could be good though. It'll still work out. You know, I mean, it's starting off by sucking ass, but it could still work out. I've got lots of stories. I guess these stories are going to be on burnpile.vip on the bonus episode this week. So if you want to sign up for $5 a month, you can get even more retarded ramblings from some guy using a wizard cat avatar. All right, let's just go. I just got to pick one, I guess. Let's do race science. Let's get into some race science here. The New York Times, genetic data from over 20,000 U.S. children misused for race science. The National Institutes of Health failed to protect brain scans that an international group of fringe researchers used to argue for the intellectual superiority of white people. That's not actually what they would argue for, though, because everyone who looks at this thing sees that it's actually Northeast Asians and Ashkenazi Jews at the top. But that's okay. Let's look at what happened here. Genetic researchers were seeking children for an ambitious, federally funded project to track brain development. A study that they told families could yield invaluable discoveries about DNA's impact on behavior and disease. Did you know black babies are the only ones that can't recognize themselves in the mirror for a long time? That's so sad. Okay. They also promised that the children's sensitive data would be closely guarded in the decade-long study, which got underway in 2015. Promotional materials included a cartoon of a black child saying it felt good knowing that scientists are taking steps to keep my information safe. The scientists did not keep it safe. A group of fringe researchers thwarted safeguards at the National Institutes of Health and gained access to data from thousands of children. The researchers have used it to produce at least 16 papers purporting to find biological evidence for differences in intelligence between races, ranking ethnicities by IQ scores, and suggesting black people earn less because they are not very smart. Mainstream geneticists have rejected their work as biased and unscientific. This is like someone like broke into the National Ocean and Atmospheric whatever, and and took their top secret research, and they're using it to proclaim that the sky is blue, and they're like, no, but the real meteorological scientists know that that's not right, and they're just biased, and they don't know how this research got into the wrong hands. Is there anybody left who believes that there's no relationship between race and IQ? I mean, in 2026, are there people like that? Because I'll tell you firsthand, I live in a non-white country. Everyone in this country believes that there are racial differences with IQ and with many other things. And they're not even aware that that could be racist. That thinking that there are differences between the races is racist. Right? And I'm talking about, you're like, oh, well, you're a conservative freak. You're talking to conservative freaks. No, I'm talking about like men and women with a college education, some of them with advanced degrees, who speak English, who absorbed American media, and have a lot of like left-hard opinions. When you ask them what they think about certain races, they'll tell you. There's not a single one of them who doesn't think there's not one that I've met. I mean, I'm sure there are tens of millions of people in the country where I live, but I mean, the ones I've met, they're like, they vote for the more left-wing party. They learned English from watching thousands of hours of Netflix with all the left-wing propaganda there. They hate Donald Trump. They've read all these books. They're like serious people. And if you ask them about like something about racial differences, they'll be like, yeah, of course. I mean, everyone all over the world believes the same thing. And I guess white Americans and white Europeans, because not even like, I don't think black Americans believe everybody's IQ is exactly the same. I don't believe that, there's certainly, you'd be hard pressed to find a Hispanic person in the US who believes that black and white people have the same IQ. Right? It's a luxury belief exclusive to white people in the US and Western Europe. It's so funny to see this kvetching about it. that all our super secret study, the data leaked, and now it's being misinterpreted by these races, and they now believe that water is wet. Everybody on Earth believes this. I mean, this charade can only continue. Like the other great power that's in competition with us, the Chinese, they all believe in racial IQ differences. Like, I hate to break it to you, they absolutely believe in it. Like, if you lose, their science is going to come to dominate, and it's not going to do this theater that you're doing right here. This is absurd. Like, this article just really made me laugh. I mean, I don't need to read the whole thing, but the whole thing's like, yeah, the data leaked. Yeah, here they've got a black boy. They've got that promotional image they were talking about. They've got a black boy saying, I feel good knowing that ABCD scientists are taking steps to keep my information safe. By the way, that black boy did not put together a sentence that sophisticated. That was put into his mouth by someone else who made that poster. Okay, well, I hope we had fun. We did a little race science. I'm a little bit goofy because my dad is coming, but we're still gonna have a bonus episode. So be sure to check that out over on burnpile.vip. That's a web address. burnpile.vip. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.